Hey guys, I'm here with two-time former Australian Open champion Johan Kriek, and used to be number 7 in the world, correct?
Yep, long time ago.
Still, that's an amazing accomplishment. So, Johan, thank you so much for showing us around your academy today here in Palm Beach Gardens. I know the weather hasn't been what we're used to here, but it changes frequently. So,
absolutely. Well, this is the summer, and we're entering the summer season, and that's typical Florida. So we're at the beautiful PGA Resort and Spa, which is 20 tennis courts. We're going to probably play within an hour.
Yeah.
So even though it drenches the courts, we have clay courts, so we can play within an hour, hour and a half.
Awesome. So obviously I've seen the facilities, they look amazing. Hopefully we've grabbed some very good content to show the viewers. What's the purpose of the academy here? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, obviously we have a large group of kids that come in the summer for camps as well, and then we have the regular academy that starts September 1st through the end of May the following year. So in that group we have kids that come for ITF training, International Tennis Federation tournament training. These are really quality juniors, anywhere from 15 on up to 18 that are playing ITFs. And then we have local kids that are pretty much good little hobby tennis players that they don't know where they're going to go yet because they're all 10, 9, 11 years old. And so we have a wide range of kids that come to the academy, and we take care of all of them. We take care of them on the point construction, the stroke production, the technique, mental training, which is a big one that people seem to forget about. So we pretty much a full-service tennis academy here at PGA.
That's awesome. I know when we first met, we spoke about the game and how much the game has been changing. What do you think has changed from when you were playing tennis to, say, today's game? And what's the biggest differences?
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, there's been a lot of changes. I think the biggest change probably is the technology.
Yeah.
Tennis rackets, when I played, I started with wood as a kid, and I played sort of with wood into my beginning of my tennis career, late 70s, early 80s. And then I went to metal rackets, and then I had sort of composite metal rackets with plastics and foam and all kinds of stuff. And then in 84, 85 area was when rackets really changed dramatically to just graphite. There were still some guys playing with metal rackets like the Wilson T2000, but Jimmy Connors made that one very famous.
Yeah.
So the biggest change for me from my era was the technology changes in terms of rackets. Now, we can go into, the athletes are bigger and stronger, and that's very true. I mean, I always thought that tennis was going to be a big man sport. I was 5'8", and I was sort of average, not really lower average height of a tennis player. But I had other attributes. I was very quick, I was very aggressive, I could serve volley. But today you see kids, the average height is probably in the 6'3", 6'4" range. Yeah. And the same with the girls. I mean, I walk into Wimbledon and I see these girls at 16, 17 playing junior Wimbledon, and they're all 6 foot tall. I mean, it's a bigger. So the athlete has gotten bigger. The training is very specialized now. Yeah. Especially at the very high end of both genders. You have coaches that travel with these people. You have psychologists, you have nutritionists, you got trainers and physios. I mean, you got a trainer and then you have a physio. I mean, these guys make enough money that they can have an entourage now. Yeah. It literally is like a NASCAR team. They take care of the tires. This one takes care of the brains. It's very different from when we played.
I've seen that now in multiple sports, where sports is becoming more. You have to have your teams, right? You can't become a professional athlete now on your own. I think that's why academies like this is crucial, because you're teaching these athletes at a young age how to build a successful future, which I think is key.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a huge disadvantage for a qualifier at the French Open. We're watching the French Open as it goes on right now. I mean, there's a huge difference between a qualifier to play Djokovic first round or somebody like that. I mean, it's just the chances of you winning is slim to none. Yeah. They are so highly specialized trained, and you don't see those 17, 18-year-olds like we used to see. Right. The Beckers of the world, the Wilanders, the Borgs, those young athletes that come at 17, 18 winning Grand Slams. It's just not going to happen anymore. The physical side of tennis has increased so much. There's such a need for specialization in everything from nutrition. These guys are now gluten-free. I didn't even know what the heck gluten was. And now
I didn't know until a couple of years ago either.
Gluten-free cereal, and I'm like, I don't feel any better, but maybe I'm growing taller.
Mentally making us better, right? We feel mentally better.
Exactly.
Now, we're going to have young athletes watching this, young tennis players who want to be like yourself and the greats. What should they be doing? And I obviously, I work a lot of college athletes that go to college, right? That's how we've partnered up to help your athletes go to college. Now, I always tell athletes, sometimes that's a good fit, sometimes it's not. What's your experience there? How do you see college sports? How do you see a young, say, 16-year-old? What advice should we be giving these guys so they make the right steps to their future?
You know, this is a really interesting question. I think in the past there were a lot of people like myself who strictly went professional. I mean, I left South Africa at age 17. I disappeared from tennis. I never played Eddie Hur, Orange Bowl, any Wimbledon juniors, none of that.
Right.
I basically focused on making myself a better tennis player.
Right.
And so when at age 19, when I came to the United States, everything broke loose, and I was in the quarterfinals 7 months later in the US Open, and then, you know, like they say, the rest is history. So I went that route. However, the chances that something is going to derail you are magnificent. Okay, so there's very few of us that have done that. I mean, when I played, there were maybe about, I would say, maybe almost 24 kids that were in the 19, 20, 21-year-old range in the top 100. Today, they were like 3.
Right.
So what it means is that the physical side of tennis has become so demanding that you cannot just decide you're going to be a professional at 18, 19, and everybody dreams about that. It's just not realistic.
Yeah.
You know, 0.01% of the world's best juniors become professional tennis players.
Wow.
So here's what I suggest, and this is what I tell my clients and my kids. Why not go for college in the United States? What unbelievable opportunity is this? You can get an education.
Yeah.
And many times, especially on the girls' side, you can get full rides at many colleges.
Definitely can.
It's not for everybody, but it is something to seriously consider, because there's no country in the world that gives a free education based on your athletics and also your smarts. So I highly suggest people look at the college route, because you can still play for a number of years, and if you really feel like, because now they allow you to play some professional tournaments, the NCAA allows you to.
Yeah.
And they, you know, obviously the college experience is one-off, and it's 4 years, you know.
Yeah.
And then, so I think it's a very worthwhile endeavor to go to college and look at the longevity of what you want to do. If your tennis career, you can break an ankle, or you can blow out an elbow or shoulder, or something happens and your tennis career is over, and you fought for this from age 4. So I think it's much more advantageous, I think, overall for most athletes. And I'm not saying this fits for every shoe. This is not for everybody. There are people that want to go straight to professional, and I understand that. But I think that the college route is really the major focus that you should have.
I mean, I've always told athletes that if you've got $1 million contract at 18 years old, you don't need college.
Exactly.
You've got the money, you can go pro, you can always go back to college.
Exactly.
But for most athletes, as we know, that's not going to be the case.
Absolutely.
And I think college gives you that angle where you can make your mistakes at zero cost to your pocket.
Exactly.
And I think that's the key value for you athletes watching this, is that, you know, we've been through these experiences, we've learned the hard ways, and we've obviously been successful in both sports we've done, but you don't want to spend your own money making mistakes, right? If you can go to college, make mistakes, learn, adapt, you're going to have a much higher chance of making it professional after college.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, I have friends in New York, and there's a group of former athletes, professional tennis players, that are now on Wall Street. And these guys are highly sought after, because tennis players by design are pretty smart people for the most part. There's not too many knuckle draggers and mouth breathers in our sport. I've seen some. But so I mean, there's these athletes are sought after because these companies are looking for leadership, problem-solving people can think on their feet. You know, these are leaders of industry, and so tennis players have a unique opportunity to make it big in the financial world, and there's many other worlds that the players can go into. So, no, I'm a big proponent. I didn't go to college. I actually wish I did. Many of my friends, like Kevin Curran, who was in the finals against Boris Becker in '85, he went to Texas Tech, and you know, they all played college tennis. So that's an experience I wish I had done. But you know, it turned out pretty good for me. But I think, looking at the realistic world today, it's extremely competitive. Tennis is 10 times more competitive than when I played. And what an amazing opportunity to go to college in the United States from anywhere in the world and get an education while you're playing tennis. And you can always decide, you know, whether you want to quit now and become a professional tennis player. Tennis careers are very, very few times it's past 10 or 12 years. Roger Federer at 16 is unheard of. So Serena at 16, 18 years is unheard of. So you know, that's one person. So don't view everything through the winner, number top, one in the world. That is the creme de la creme, and a very one-off athlete. Right.
So athletes that come here, come to the academy, train, get better. It obviously makes my job easier to help them get to bigger schools. They're still going to be able to work with you, right, in college? Because a lot of athletes I deal with, they're like, well, I won't be able to work with my coach anymore if I go to college. And I know that's not the case. I mean, most coaches will want them to, you know, keep that relationship with you throughout college. So what's your experience of that so far? I mean, have you had your athletes go to college and then they've still maintained a relationship, or they've stopped the relationship? Like, what's your experience with that?
Well, we want to go to college, and those colleges have their own coaches. So for the large extent, those coaches do take over. But because I am who I am, and I have a lot of friends that are former professional tennis players, both men and women, that are coaching at colleges, they take my call. So there's a big advantage that if I call a coach and I say, this is a D1 opportunity here, take a look. I'm never saying it's guaranteed, but they do take my call. So. I think a lot of the players, they always say, well, I learned to play tennis. I mean, I have made girls, for instance, some girl that I had help. She was a volleyball star,
right?
And I made her a tennis player, and
really?
then she got a tennis scholarship, and she thought she was going to go to volleyball. So she was a dual athlete. But they do stay in touch, and then they do come and train sometimes with us. But for the most part, they're very busy. They got a heck of a schedule at college. So we do have a relationship, but for the couple of years from age 14 or 15, when they really start to play well, and help them to where they can get their college scholarship and stuff is very important, and
awesome.
That's how we go with it.
Okay, so we have tennis players watching this. What do they do if they want to come to this amazing academy? What's the next steps?
Well, they can go on the web. Everybody goes on the web and search tennis academies. Well, that's johankrieektennis.com, JOHANKRIEK tennis.com. And they can find out a lot of information about that and all the affiliations we have with you guys now. I think it's a great opportunity for athletes to learn. I'm one of the rare breed guys that have been playing at a very high level of tennis, and yet I'm on a tennis court 5 or 6 days a week.
Right.
I see a lot of local junior tournaments. I'm very in the know about tennis. Obviously, I go to Wimbledons. I go to all these major tournaments and see. I'm very current. So, there's just not too many of us out there that are doing this day in and day out.
Yeah, awesome. Look, Johan, I'm very honoured to have this partnership with you, and I look forward to working with your athletes and get them to amazing schools across the country. So thank you so much.
Whoever gets in touch with us is going to have a wonderful life, that's for sure.
They're going to come in, train, practice, going to go to a great school, and I'm sure Johan's going to help them with advice going professional as well. So thank you so much for your time.
We've done it for real, so we know what's going into this area. It's a wonderful thing to play tennis.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
You.
Take care.